Hello and welcome to the Seiko Golden Grand Prix 2023 from Yokohama, Japan. It's the fourth stop of 13 on the World Athletics Continental Tour Gold Series. And here you can see the impressive international stadium, the Nissan Stadium. I'm Jenny Meadows and I will be taking you through all the action over the next couple of hours. Just see our weather graphic there. Well, it's pretty perfect conditions. That windsock is only just blowing very so slightly in the breeze. And here is what you can expect over the next couple of hours. We'll be starting off with a very high profile women's javelin throw. Straight onto the second sheet already. You can see the final of the men's 100 meters. We've had heats already. We'll bring you up to date with those. And we'll be finishing all the action with the men's and women's 3,000 meters. But moving really swiftly on to the competition. There is the graphic of the women's javelin throw. Look at those spears, very, very impressive. And these are some of the best women in the world. You can see from that world ranking, we've got world number 2, 3, 4, and 6. As well as Tori Peters from New Zealand and a good array of Japanese throwers as well. Here is Kataguchi. Araka Kataguchi, she's a national record holder and actually she is the world leader at this early stage of the season. She has that world ranking of number 3. Well, here she goes. This is the first round. And you can hear the gasp of the crowd there. They enjoyed that one. That's approaching 60 meters. Maybe just a little bit shy of that 60-meter mark. She has opened up with 64.50. That is the world lead. There we go, 58.87. A good, solid start for Kataguchi. Well, we will be following that women's javelin throw with the action on the track about to start. We have already had some heats of the men's 100 meters. We will show you a replay of that before the final. But here is your full lineup for the men's 400-meter hurdles. 9 lanes in the international stadium, and we're using all 9 of those for the men's 400-meter hurdles. Well, you just saw from that graphic, actually, the athlete in lane 1 who was due to go, Ken Tadoya, he has a does not start next to his name, which is such a shame for him. Our camera operator just honing in there on lane 5. Yazuki Kurowawa, local Japanese athlete, just 21 years of age. He was second here last year behind world number 2 all-time Rai Benjamin of the USA. Can he take the victory this year? Well, he could well be one of the favorites. Karakawi. Such a strong history in the 400-meter hurdles. Japan. Looking through the field, actually, it's pretty even on season's best. All 8 men competing here have already competed at least once this season. A couple of athletes already in personal best shape. Just seeing Amir Latin there of the USA just on the outside. He will go 1 lane outside Kurokawa. Lanes so important, of course, in the 400 meters and 400 meter hurdles. You gauge your efforts, you pace yourself, but you have to, of course, see what your opponents are doing. Taiko Tatisei there on the outside. He'll go in that difficult lane 9. Kishimoto enjoying the crowd. Chen Shea, Chinese Taipei, he goes in lane 7. Here's Amir Latin of the USA. Look at that world ranking, number 16, right up there, one of the best athletes in the world. Well, this could be the man to challenge Latin Kazuki Kurowawa. Like I said, second here last year. Kodama of Japan, he's raced extensively already this year. Personal best 49.01. Aladamak Lawulu from Algeria does have the fastest personal best time. Shutai Nakai there in lane 2. And we will be using lanes 2 to 9. Lost to Dodo already. And the men will settle into their blocks to get this Golden Grand Prix underway. Awula in lane 3. Kodama 4, Kurowawa in 5, Latin 6. Watch out for those center lanes. Sean Jackson of the USA holds the meet record, a very, very swift 47.60 as Kurowawa starts off well in lane 5. That black singlet and those red shorts just coming up to the shoulder of Latin there. 400 meters and the 400 meter hurdles is all about pacing yourself, not going off too quick, making sure you get out well, but making sure this last 150 meters you do save something. And Lawulu from Algeria is going very well in the green there in lane 3. Well, what a finish coming into the straight. Lawula, Kodama, could it be Kodama over Kurowawa? Oh, it's so tight on the line, but it does look like it's Kodama. He does take the victory. Well, I already said he's raced extensively. He had run a personal best, 49.01, and that is confirmed. Another new personal best for Yusanku Kodama, 48.77. Well, the time's coming up there on that graphic. Look at this into this straight. It was so tough. Hurdle 9 sorted them out, didn't it? Lawulu just went backwards at that hurdle. But it was Kodama. He had that strength towards the end. Got to make that his 4th or 5th race. So he can tolerate that lactic acid that builds up during that quarter mile. And here it is. Oh, and in fact, a Japanese 1, 2, 3, 4. How about that? Lawula of Algeria was so up there, wasn't he, on the 8th hurdle with 100 meters to go. He just faded towards the end. And Japan, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the opening track event. Kelsey Ann Barber in the women's javelin throw. That was her opening effort. Current world champion and so impressive, winning in Oregon last year. Oh, in fact, that was a second round, 56.41. So a significant improvement from the first. Mackenzie Little from Australia. She was 8th in the Tokyo Olympics. That one certainly looks like it's around about 60 meters, maybe just in excess. Let's leave that one to the judges. And the meet organizers done incredibly well assembling this field. Number 2, 3, 4, and 6 in the world, and in fact it is. She's done such a good series already. 61.77, 61.33. Little is the leader at this early stage of the women's javelin throw. Well, a good crowd being packed into this arena. It does hold 65,000. We're expecting 15. There we go. This is the stand-ins in the women's javelin throw at the end of round 2. And we've got a very, very good men's long jump coming up as well. Japan always have a strong showing in this event. Probably the reason that this long jump event is in the program here. These world rankings are really useful, aren't they? To get an eye in, who to look out for. Just picking out the name of Jinan Wang. There is Wang. I say only has a world ranking of number 10, but he is the world champion. And what a competition that was in Eugene last year. But let's get this competition underway. Hashioka of Japan. You can see there his season's best, already in excess of 8 meters. Was an Olympic Games finalist in Tokyo. Plenty of speed on the runway there. Really helpful having that national record and world record graphic. I'm sure the Japanese crowd appreciate that. They can cite what they see. No, he doesn't like that. Let's have another look. Nice, measured and controlled. Oh, there we go. That's why he doesn't like it. Well, it was a very controlled approach. Oh, gosh, and he's what, some 15 centimeters over the board or so. So just a little bit of a conversation there, which I presume is his coach. What to do? Well, that is the full result of that men's 400-meter hurdles. That is confirmation of a personal best, 48.77 for Komoda of Japan. Well, we will be following the women's javelin throw. We will be following the men's long jump. But next on track is the women's 1,500 meters. Three and 3/4 laps. That is the full lineup. There will be a second page. We've got 13 women due to go in this one. There is the full 13. And I've got to say, pretty perfect conditions in the arena. Not too warm. There was 2 heats of the men's 100 meters earlier, and the wind readings were plus 1.5 and plus 1.7 meters per second. So pretty perfect conditions. Camera focusing on Nozomi Tanaka of Japan. Well, we are having the opportunity to meet all of the athletes here. Sha'carri we've just seen on the outside. This is Hoffman of Luxembourg. Ide of Japan. Nishita of Japan. Danielle Jones, she is one of the athletes we need to look out for in this one. Personal best of 4:04. Yumi Goto of Japan, Asian indoor silver medalist this year. Madeline Murray of Australia. Here is Nozomi Tanaka. How very much she enjoyed her season a couple of years ago, made the Olympic final, should I say. Helen Loban of Kenya, another athlete to look out for, as is Yanaka, who we've just met, 3,000 meters steeplechase specialist. Sha'carri of Japan already ran 10,000 meters on the road this season in a very swift time. Kachigita of Japan, and on the inside, Shoyi of Japan.
On your mark.
So 13 women get underway. We do have a pacemaker in this one, so we are expecting 12 of the women to finish. Not always obvious sometimes who the pacemaker is, but very obvious on this occasion. It is the young 18-year-old. What a task she has been given. Sha'carri of Japan, but what an opportunity to lead these 12 world-class women round. I think she's going to take them to 800 meters. We'll be having a look what sort of pace the women go through, but just looking at it, I don't think it's particularly quick. We were expecting around about 64 seconds through the first 200 meters, and I can tell you it is not going to be 64 seconds. It will be significantly slower than this. It looks like we've got a real race on our hands rather than a swift time. And indeed, 69.93 seconds. And I've got to say, it's very, very tough pacemaking. And I think the young woman who's been tasked with that did very, very well. She had to look what everybody else was doing. She realized that people were not following her, so she just backed off that pace. Helen Loban of Kenya is following that pace. So is Danielle Jones, so is Madeline Murray. Nozomi Tanaka, the small figure from Japan, just on the outside. She's in 5th place at the moment, 4th place in the race proper if we exclude the pacemaker. And she looks like she's just following the field. Well, there we go. The pacemaker has dropped out now. 800 meters left in this race. You know, if I cast my mind back, and if any viewers are watching and they remember the race last year, Tanaka really stormed through that first 400 meters. There was a pacemaker, but she stormed through in 63 seconds. But just watching her move up now onto the shoulder of the leader. It is still Murray from Australia. It was such a shame for Tanaka last year. She was so brave, so courageous, tried to run a quick time. And she was leading all the way into the straight, and she just got overhauled by several athletes, actually. She ended up in 4th position. I know she'll want to put on a better show than 4th position this year. Let's see what she can do. So it is still Murray, Tanaka. Jones is now moved on the outside. Loban in the blue has found herself having to fight for space again with 400 meters to go. So 3:11 at the bell, and Tanaka makes her move. Well, that corresponded with the crowd noise. You heard her, oh, she's gone for it. And she will certainly be the favorite of the whole of the crowd, maybe one of the most popular athletes here of the whole of the afternoon. Tanaka from Jones, from Murray. Well, it's been a very swift 200 meters. I make that around about 30 seconds. And look at Tanaka here. She's driving her arms, 150 meters to go. And she really wants this. Tanaka then into the home straight, using those arms. The knees are still high. She's pulling away from Danielle Jones. And this is going to be a win for Nozomi Tanaka. It's going to be a crowd pleaser. Here she goes all the way to the line. 4:11.55, 60 seconds for the last lap. Incredible running, incredible victory there. Nozomi Tanaka in the women's 1500 meters. Well, it was a bold move, wasn't it, with 400 meters to go. You have to be brave. She will be hurting at this stage. But you just think to yourself, well, if I'm hurting, everyone behind me is hurting, and I'm still in the front. It was Tanaka from Jones, and I missed that actually. Vera Hoffman from Luxembourg came through for a very, very fine third position. Men's long jump. The first sighting on the runway for world champion Wang. Personal best, 8 meters 47. That dates back some 5 years ago now. Very consistent jumper, Wang. He was 5th in Rio, all the way back in 2016. And what a start to the competition for Wang. He just hangs in the air, doesn't he? Stretches those legs out. Well, that's 8 meters exactly for Wang in the first round. Back to the women's javelin throw. Kelsey Lee Barber. She's not hitting those 60 meters. She's not hitting 55 either. We can see that marker. Well, I talked about when she won the World Championships last year in Eugene. She was a defending champion. Very, very impressive to be able to defend that title. She has got a season's best of 57.05. That was set in Brisbane at the beginning of April. She was 2nd in the national championships to this woman, Mackenzie Little, who's enjoying a better day so far. Well, that one will be an improvement for Little. Brilliant images here, being able to follow that spear right onto the field. 64.10. Well, she is really chasing down Kitaguchi's world lead of 64.50. Kitaguchi still just in 7th position so far here today, after a couple of attempts with that 59.02. Little's throw there is the 2nd best in the world so far this year. So let's see how she progresses with 3 throws left. Just confirmation there of that women's 1500 meter result. We can see down on track there. The men are lining up for the 3,000 meters at steeplechase. "14 men will go in this one. There is your full lineup. We've lost Nisha Kata of Japan, unfortunately. Well, just like the women's 1500 meters, we will meet all of the competitors. Yashu of Japan on the outside. Very close to his personal best already this year. Owaki, we just met him. Shigeno there, also representing Japan. Tuikeke. Japan have got so many athletes who enjoy the steeplechase. Damian Vich from the Czech Republic, 3 times national champion over this event. Kuroda, also of Japan, and Masamoto. Aoi Masamoto, 35 years of age now, but still in very good shape. Philemon Kiplat Ruto of Kenya, he could be one of the athletes to look out for in this one. Ogino ran a very quick 2,000 meter steeplechase recently. Well, we just got a glance there of Mimura, Japanese national record holder. He won this event last year. Matthew Clark of Australia, national champion last year. Amos Kurui in the black from Kenya. Commonwealth Games bronze medalist a couple of seasons ago. Seiya Tsunoda on the inside, also from Japan.
On your marks.
Seven and a half laps, 35 barriers, 28 of them fixed, 7 of them including a water jump. And we just see the pacemaker go to the front then. It's almost like he forgot, wasn't it? He just had a quick glance at his watch. Kazunori Kusa of Japan. Oh, he's got a pretty impressive personal best of his own over this event, 8:25.70. And it's worth pointing out as we go along a couple of the World Athletics qualification standards. So for this men's 3,000 meters steeplechase, it is 8 minutes 15. That is quite an advancement on last year. I think it was 8:22 last year. There is Mora in the blue singlet. He's following that pacemaker. Winner of this event in such an impressive form last year. He's just so graceful over the track. And he just really attacks those barriers. Not got to be scared of those barriers, as overwhelming as they may appear. And it's not a bad tactic, actually, being tucked right behind that pacemaker. He can sight the barriers. He doesn't have too many bodies in front of him. You'd expect at this early stage of the competition that all the men would be clearing those barriers pretty swiftly. Because when that fatigue sets into the legs over the last kilometre or so, that's when you start seeing the technique really, really being tested. So here is that water jump for the first time. Yuri Mimura, actually at the 2021 National Championships, when he set that national record, he slipped at one of the water jumps, but he still managed to gain time back and get that national record. That stands at 8:09.92. I picked out on the start line Amos Kurui, also of Kenya. He's there in the black singlet. He's in 4th position at the moment, just following this pace. But we can see the kilometre split there. It was 2:47.99. Well, they did ask for 2:47 through the first kilometre. I was doing some maths earlier, trying to work out what all the kilometre splits would be. That's almost bang on as we catch back up with the women's javelin throw. Tori Peters, 60-60, his best from the third round so far. He is the fourth round attempt. Oh, that's significantly further for Peters. She almost looks stunned. Well, let's look at those world lead rankings. Kachaguchi came into this competition. She still has the world lead with 64.50. Mackenzie Little is closing down with a 64.10. And what has Peters done? Well, 63.26. That would be right up there in about 5th position so far. Now, just looking at her personal best, that actually surpasses it. Peters already was the national record holder with 62.40. Well, how about that? Congratulations, Tori Peters. Let's see what you can finish the competition with. 2 more throws to go still. Little in the fourth, just 40 centimeters shy of Kachaguchi's world lead in the third. Oh, that comes down a few meters shorter than she would have liked. .60 meters, 95. 64.10 remains her furthest. Oh, that's nice. Just congratulating Peters. Wow, 63.26. What a way to go into this 2023 season. Back to the men's steeplechase. Ruutu at the front. Well, we are down to just 5 men. Karui still there as well. Miura, we expected that. Just trying to sight some of the other athletes. I think the other athletes in 4th position, Ryoma Aoki. Well, just 2 laps to go now, and Ruutu is really taking it to this field. Nice stride length. Karui looks good though, doesn't he, in the black singlet. Miura looks good as well, nice and smooth. Aoki there, he just fumbled. Not even at the barrier, just looked like he checked his running style. He's still wedged there nicely on the inside. So Ruutu from Karui, from Miura. And Clark is still in there at this stage as well. Well, 500 meters to go now, and still 5 men. Matthew Clark of Australia is very experienced, and Ruutu took them all the way to 400 meters to go. What a pacemaker as Miura hits the front. Miura and Karui. And you just see a little bit of a shove, a nice shove though in the back, as Karui just lets Miura just, okay, you have it, you have the inside line for now, but I'm not going away. Oh, and we've got a race in our hands. Matthew Clark has just lost ground with the front 2 now, but it is Karui from Miura. Miura, he looks so good. He won by 5 seconds last year. What has he got this last 150 meters? He does take the steeplechase water jump better than Karui. The crowd, I can tell, are on the feet. Listen to the cheers. And it is Miura coming strong into the home straight. 1 barrier to go. Miura taking the victory for the 2nd year running. finishing like a sprinter all the way to the line. 8:19.08. Ryui Mimura from Japan, from Amos Karui of Kenya. Well, it was a fight all the way to the finish line, wasn't it, this one? 200 meters to go. Karui still had the lead. I was left wondering whether Mimura was going to find something or not. Absolutely sublime finishing speed from the Japanese record holder. Well, 3 track events gone and 3 wins for the local favourites. Kodama from Japan with that superb personal best in the 400-meter hurdles. Tanaka and then Mimura. It's going pretty well from the Japanese so far. Henry Frayne in round 3 of the men's long jump. In 2nd position so far. So much speed on that runway. You can just see from that light, it was red. So that was a foul. We'll confirm that now with the pictures. Oh, there we can see a third of his foot, all of his toes basically, over that green plasticine. So 7:99 from the first round will remain his best at the end of round 3. Back to this women's javelin throw. Our director's doing so well. I want to cover all of these events, especially when we've got so much to show on the infield. Well, Tori Peters, already a national record in the 3rd round. 4th round, sorry. Stand corrected. This is her 5th. How do you come back from that? Well, like that, unfortunately. Just went outside of the sector. Very hard, isn't it, to get yourself back up for it when you've just surpassed your expectations. She was in total shock when that spear landed on the 4th round. 63.26. Well, if she doesn't improve, she's going home with new national record figures. But that is still only good enough for 2nd so far. Mackenzie Little, 64.10. And that won't be an improvement for Little. She does still have 1 further attempt. So we should be moving on to the 6th round now. If I've done my calculations right. Just a shot there of Kataguchi. She's still holding on to a world lead so far. This is Kelsey Lee Barber. This is the 6th round, 61.95, her best so far, 3rd position. Well, it's not gone the way of the world champion today in Yokohama. She can only finish as high up as 3rd position now. Well, 52 meters to start with, 56. I think she would have took 61 at that point. Reigning world champion Wang, this is his third attempt, Jinan Wang. 8 meters, his best in the first round. Just wait until he's absolutely ready to go. Oh, you can just see those windsocks there. Just look like the wind has picked up slightly. Maybe that's why he was waiting. But here is Wang in the third. So much speed. Well, from where my eyes are looking, that certainly looks in excess of 8 meters. Could be an improvement for Wang. Looking down on my computer system, all of the wind readings so far have been legal, all under plus 2 meters per second. So that's good news for the long jumpers. Nothing more frustrating if you're a long jumper or a triple jumper and you get a big jump in and then the wind reading is illegal. Same that goes for the sprints, of course, the 100 meters and the sprint hurdles. And indeed, that is an improvement, 8 meters 07. Wang takes the lead. Here is the result of the men's 3,000 meter steeplechase. Another victory from Mimura of Japan. Karui finished a very credible second. Well, I can see already the men are on the start line for the 400 meters. What about that world record? 43.03. Wade van Niekerk of South Africa. And you do follow the sport, I'm sure you're absolutely delighted to see Wade van Niekerk back in good shape. 44.17 seconds. Only Mizala Samukonga, who's had a couple of wins on the Continental Tour Gold Series so far, has run faster than Wade van Niekerk. But let's see what these 9 men, again we're using all 9 lanes, see what they can do. Keito Kawabata from Japan. He was part of the relay team last year at the World Championships. He broke the national and Asian record. Ima Izumi as well. Another great Japanese athlete. Joel Coelho, I just missed there, from Portugal in lane 7. Watch out for him. Nakajima, another member of that national record-breaking team. Maybe the world record one day. Well, we've got 2 athletes here, Kenato Sato and Fugo Sato. They should both offer a good threat, as should Paul Dedwo of the USA, Nahiro Janishi of Japan, personal best recently 45.78, and Alex Beck on the inside lane, coming off a good Australian season. He has lane 1. So we met the competitors very quickly there. I just want to go back to a couple of athletes. Look out for Kenato Sato in lane 5. He was a winner last year. Well, let's look out for the World Championship qualification standard, 45.00. None of the men in this field have achieved that so far. And a really strong showing there from Kenato Sato in lane 5. Really high stepper in the white and the red. Nakajima now going well in the black singlet outside him. And it's another black singlet. It is Paul Duero of USA going well in lane 3. So all to play for at the moment coming into the home straight. Deadwoe running well in lane 3. Nakajima it is though in lane 6 coming through. He's gonna take the win. Nakajima, if that is confirmed, he's just knocked a couple of hundredths of a second off his personal best time, 45.32. Well, here we go. That was quick. Another hundredth faster than we thought, 45.31. That's some 800ths of a second off Yakajima's personal best. Coelho of Portugal second, 45.46. He finished incredibly strong in lane 7 in the white and green hoops. But it was Nakajima who put the best race together. And he was rewarded with a 45.31. Well, it hurts, the 400 meters. Doesn't matter how many of them that you've done during the season. But 45.31, closing in on that 45.00 World Athletics qualification standard for the World Championships. Less than 100 days away now. Tori Peters' last round attempt. Well, it's another good attempt. Don't know if it's going to challenge her national record, but it's certainly around about 62 meters. And she just waited, didn't she? She waited to see where that javelin had landed before she decided what she was going to do facial expression wise, and it is 62.06. Well, to back up that 63.26 with a 62.06, I'm sure she'll be absolutely thrilled. But our winner is Mackenzie Little. Well, she really got a body behind that one, didn't she? And that one is better. That is better than quite a few of her previous attempts. Not as far as her 64.10. I think that's a good way to finish the competition for Mackenzie Little, as well as guaranteeing that victory. Kataguchi, she went into her, say congratulations, and nearly fell. Well, it is 63.07. That will be her second best attempt today. And Mackenzie Little is our women's javelin throw winner today. There is the full result. Well, it did promise to be a good competition. Little, Peters and Barber, and Karaguchi, the world leader, did manage to progress herself up through the competition. She was in 7th at one point, but she did manage to haul herself back into a respectable 4th position, 61.34. Confirmation of that men's 400 meter result, Nakajima 45.31. Portuguese athlete Jalelo did do extremely well to finish 45.46. And Fuga Sato, last year's victor, had to settle for 3rd position. So we've had quite a lot of long events. We had the women's 1500 meters. We've had the 3000 meter steeplechase for men. We're now moving down in the distance to the women's 100 meter hurdles. We will see the men's version 110 meter hurdles next. We've got a men's and a women's 100 meters coming up, of course, as well. And we are going to end the program with men's and women's 3000 meters. Well, what a sight to see. 90 barriers in front of these women. So good to be able to use all 9 lanes. And well done for the meet director, getting so many athletes from across the globe here. Of course, it's always going to be dominated by local Japanese athletes. A lot of athletes, particularly from Europe, probably don't want to spend the long journey getting over to Japan, but really good to see a good sprinkling of international competition. Masaomi Ayeke of Japan there, that we're just zoning in on. Asian indoor champion over 60 meter hurdles this year. We've got 6 Japanese women in this one, 4 of which have gone sub 13 seconds, which is real world-class sprint hurdling. And the other 2, well, they are very close to that barrier. We've also got the Australian number 2 and 3 ranked athletes. And we're just going to throw in Jade Barber from the USA as well, who's got the fastest personal best of all of the field. So a really enthralling women's 100 meter hurdles coming up. World Athletics qualification standard is 12:78 in this event. This event has been contested 10 times during this meeting, the Seiko Golden Grand Prix, and on 5 of those occasions, the winner has run faster than 12:78. So it does show it's achievable, yet none of these World Athletics qualification standards are easily got, should I say. Just meeting Shibata, Manaka Shibata from Japan in lane 1. Chishise Kamayayu of Japan in lane 2. Hannah Jones, 3rd in the Australian National Championships, goes in 3. Yumi Tanaka, one of the 4 Japanese women who have gone sub 13 seconds, goes in 4. Meiko Fukube in 5. She's the national record holder. She got that last year, 12:73. That was in Gifu. Just confused then. I think an athlete doesn't go in one of the other lanes, and it was Samuzi Akoye. We heard her, saw her earlier, should I say. Jade Barber from the US, she does go in 8. And Celeste Mucci, 2nd in the Australian National Championships. She goes in lane 9. So I think it might be lane 6 that we're missing to Raider, but all to be confirmed. Oh no, there is Terada. Okay, I've totally missed somebody, but anyway, let's go. Women's 100 meter hurdles. All 9 women are there.
Sir.
Kafube did have a good start. Ayoke is running extremely well in lane 7. Oh, and it looks like it's the athlete in lane 6, Asghar, who comes through. Well, yeah, that is who our camera is focusing on. Asghar Tereda. Well, it was the woman who I thought was missing from the start list. I'm very grateful that she wasn't. She has already ran a personal best this year, 12:86, and it looks like she's matched that to the very 100th of a second. Asghar Tereda. Well, lots of screams. I think maybe Tanaka could have run a personal best as well. Indeed, she has 12:89. Look at that on the line. Well, when you've got such a good domestic competition in Japan, that is what brings out the best in these women. 12:91 for third position for Mikao Fukubi. Well, we'll clear that up again. Oh, and it has been rounded down. So I'm looking at 12:86. Well, let's wrap that up. It was very, very close on the line, wasn't it? Tereda, though, did get the victory. This is Frayne. We saw his 7:99 in the first, 7:85 in the second. It was a foul in the third. But here is Frayne in the fourth. Has got a personal best of 8:34. Here we go, so much speed on the runway. Was he closer to the board on that one? Was it a legal one? Oh, it wasn't. It was red once again. Well, all his jumps are so close to that 8-meter board, aren't they? Oh, well, he's basically exactly the same distance over the board as he was on the third. I remember saying it looked about a third of the toe, third of the foot, all of his toes. So whatever is done, whatever adjustments he's done, still needs to go back. Jinan Wang, world champion. I'm sure he doesn't mind me just keep saying that every single time he steps onto the runway. Just going through a last-minute mental rehearsal. So he's just waiting to gauge that wind. Wang then, 8:07 to beat. That didn't look quite as far, maybe just agonizingly short of 8 meters. He is the only man to go in advance of 8 meters so far here today. He opened up with 8 meters, so he does hold the first 2 best jumps. Henry Frayne of Australia, 7:99, came in the first. So Wang still has some 8 centimeters on Frayne at this stage of the competition. There are the stand-ins as they stand, literally. And it was a win for Tereda, equaling a personal best, 12:86. Tanaka second, new personal best, shaving a couple of hundredths off that. And the Japanese national record holder for Kube in third position. 12:86, 12:89 and 12:91. Japanese women's sprint hurdling is in safe hands. As we move over to the men's sprint hurdles. Talking about World Athletics qualification standards. This one stands at 12:28. And these are the men who will be contesting the men's 100-meter, 110-meter hurdles. 6 local athletes go on this one. We've also got Roger Irabani over Cuba. We've got Tueri Shen from Chinese Taipei, and we've got Jacob McCrory of Australia. So a good international field assembled. Tiger Yokachi there in lane 1. Ran a season's best recently in Osaka. Ryo Tuakuja of Japan, close to his personal best already this year. Ishida Thomas, also of Japan, just 100th away from his 4-year personal best. So really good to see him rounding into shape. Roger Irabani of Cuba, he was a world indoor finalist. Of course, that takes place over 60 meters, so expect a good start from him. Lane 5, Shuna Takayama. He's got plenty of experience, the 28-year-old. He likes this arena. He was part of the World Relays here when it took place in 2019. He competed in the mixed shuttle hurdles, one of my favorite events, and Japan were pretty successful that day. They won a silver medal. Well, we will meet all of the field now. Japanese national record holder Shukei Izazuma. Eka Shikawa of Japan goes in lane 7, the Asian indoor bronze medalist. Watch out for Ruairu of Chinese Taipei. And here is another Australian athlete. Quite a few Australians have made this trip to Yokohama, Jacob McCrory.
Set.
Well, a good even start. Izumiya in the blue, the Japanese record holder, is leading at this stage, and it is Izumiya. And it is Izumiya all the way to the finish. Well, look at that time! 13.08, just 200ths of a second away from his own Japanese national record. Well, it's been rounded down, 13.07 for Shunkei Izumiya. And I've got to say, I'm just looking at the world list. There's only Grant Holloway, world champion, world record holder, who's run anywhere near that sort of time this year. He's run 13.03. And it wasn't a blistering start for Izumi, but he was always in front from barrier 2. Well, there he goes. He has improved from 13.25 season's best all the way to 13.07, and has slotted himself into position number 2 on the World 2023 outdoor list. What incredible showing from Izumiya. Well, I can see some jumping going on in the background. that makes me think that several athletes are incredibly pleased with their result. When you've got a 13:07 at the front, you've got to think that other people behind have done pretty well. Shiroyama here of Japan. Well, he just didn't feel that, did he? Right on the approach and takeoff. Just aborted that jump. That's a shame for the Asian Championship bronze medalist from a couple of years back. He did open with 7.94 meters. He will finish in 3rd position. Well, he's holding 3rd position, should I say. We've still got a round to go in this men's long jump. Henry Frayne in 3rd position, actually. So I'm just consulting my computer to see who has overtaken him. So it started so well for Frayne at 7.99. 7.85, and then we've just seen his 3rd round and 4th round attempts. Both of them, well, I was going to say marginal fouls. It was some 6 or 7 centimeters or so. Let's see if he's managed to adjust that run up, and I think it's the same. I think it's very much the same fate. There we go. Oh, it's not what we want to see. We don't want to see red, we want to see green. Pulls his face, probably quite frustrated. And again, it's a little bit more actually. It's hard, isn't it, to make sure that you match your speed with, you say, I got up, match your speed with what the wind's doing, and adrenaline. Much, much easier in practice when your adrenaline's not really spiked, so gotta just move that run up way. Run up back. You can see Brooke Bushkuhl just giving him some advice on the sideline. She's been competing here in the women's long jump. This is Yi Nan Wang. Well, he has dropped into 2nd position. That is why Henry Frayne, the caption said he was in 3rd. So his 8.07 is still his best so far. But it's Yoshida Hiramichi of Japan, who has gone out in the 5th round to 8.11 meters. But here is Wang's 5th attempt. Oh, and is that legal? Oh, it isn't. Oh, if only that was green. Let's have a look. Oh, it's marginal, isn't it? He's got a really big jump in him this afternoon, Wang. He's just having a look at the display unit. That'll show him how far over he was, so he can make his adjustment. Oh, he knows how good that was. Well, he has dropped back into 2nd position. You can see there from the graphic, Schneider has improved to 8.11 meters. This is the jump, the 5th round jump from Yoshida. Oh, you can hear the power and the speed and the trajectory on that jump. So Yoshida, he did open with 7.74, 7.71, 7.91. He then had a foul in the 4th, and that was his 5th, 8.11 meters. He lands very awkwardly, doesn't he? But hey, it doesn't matter how you get there as long as you do. Oh, look at that. Almost inch perfect on the board. In contrast to the problems that Henry Frayne is having getting on that board. Very, very good accuracy and discipline from Yoshida. Well, the crowd responded once they saw that 8 meters 11. So that is the result of the men's 110-meter hurdles. What about that? 13:07 for Shizuki Izumiya, second on those world rankings. So these were the heats of the men's 100 meters that we had earlier. Watch out for Fred Curley in lane 5. He's got the white top on and the glasses. He gets that head up, doesn't he? And then he just moves away from the field, powering all the way to the line. Well, 9:89 was on the clock. It was rounded down to 9:88. So he took heat 1. And heat 2. We're looking at the small figure in lane 6, Ryuichi Sakai. Well, he came through really, really powerfully to take the victory. It wasn't as fast as Curley. It was a couple of tenths of a second slower, but 10:09 nevertheless. And these will be the men that are competing in that men's 100-meter final. We do have the women going first. We will meet those women shortly. In fact, we'll meet them now. Yuna Miura from Japan. Arisa Kishimima, also from Japan. Prix Masters, second in the recent Australian national champs. What about this woman, Zoe Hobbs, national champion? Oh, I forgot how many times, so many times, but got the Oceanian record already this year, 10:97. Destiny Smith-Barnett will be a real threat. 10:09 and 10:11 already this year. Tori Lewis of Australia, also national champion this year over the 100 and the 2. Midori Mikase goes in lane 8. Raced extensively in the US already this year. And Remi Terusta of Japan goes in lane 9. The full lineup, the women's 100 meters. Miura, Kimimishi, Masters, Hobbs, Smith-Barnett, Lewis, Makase, and Teruta. Good clean start. Women's 100 meters. Destiny Barnett-Smith gone out well. Hobbs in the black outsider, and it's Hobbs all the way to the line. The Oceanian record holder, Zoe Hobbs, taking the victory, 11.20 seconds. Destiny Smith-Barnett started well. There was no reeling back Hobbs. Once she got into her full running, so consistent these days. Just looking through her series events this year, 11:07, 10:89 windy, 10:97, that was that Oceanian record. 11:02, 11:20, 11:08, 10:97 windy in Nairobi, the Continental Tour a couple of weeks ago, and then 11:20 to take the victory here in Yokohama. Well, look at Smith-Barnett on the outside of Hobbs in the pink. She started well. It was that first 20 meters, but then Hobbs showed some real fighting spirit, didn't she? Real piston-like arm action. And she held that all the way to the line. She was moving away from the rest of the field. Prix Masters of Australia picking up third position. Romichi Yoshida is our long jump leader going into the 6th and final round. Let's see what he can produce. Oh, wow. Well, let's not get excited. Let's see what the electronic light indicates. It doesn't look excited. Is it red? Is it green? Is it red? Is it green? Let's have another look at that. Let's see what the naked eye picks up. Oh, it looks good to me. Let's have a look. Well, I think the whole of the crowd are trying to see what this men's long jump display board comes up with, and he's put one arm in the air. I haven't seen it yet, but he's seen it. The crowd has seen it. 8.26 meters. Well, Yoshida saved his best towards the end of the competition. Round 5 and then round 6, 8.26. Can Frayne respond? Can Wang respond? So the build up to the men's 100 meters. And after 9.88 seconds from Fred Curley in the heats, I'm sure no one wants to leave this packed arena. They've opened up the first tier of this 65,000 seater arena. So impressive. This international stadium. Tian Welton of New Zealand, he will go in lane 1. See Jake Doran there. Goto Suzuki. Well, Fred Curley is due to go in lane 4. He's not in his order. Rowan Browning came out before him. He has decided to come out last. And why not? Let's have a good build up to this men's 100 meter final. Fred Curley wearing the number 4 on his back. Well, he was number 1 last year at the World Championships. Henry Frayne going back to long jump. This is his last round attempt. So frustrating for him not being able to get a sight in of that board. He's had some big jumps in him, no doubt. Here he goes, Henry Frayne, the Frayne train, round 6. Well, he gives the crowd a clap, whether that's because he doesn't think, yeah, he says no, that jump can contest for the win, or whether he knows something that we don't. And it wasn't a legal jump. Bushkull there giving a little bit of advice, trying to help him work out where he was on the board. Well, he looks like it was a legal jump.
To get on the board, like I got this long loping run up, and then to get on the board, I have to sort of do that.
Well, this is amazing. We're hearing it from the horse's mouth. He said he's described his run-up as a long, loping run-up. And he found it really hard to get on the board because of that. Well, there we go, 7.86. This is Wang's last jump. He's got 19 centimeters to find to take the victory. Oh, and it was a good one, a good hitch kick towards the end that allowed him to stay in the air a little bit longer. Well, he likes it. Is it as far as the 7.26? Let's have another look. Such a graceful jumper. Well, I can tell that the crowd have been given the information. I think it will be his best of the day, but I'm not quite sure whether that's enough to take the lead. Let's see, he is smiling. Well, this long jump competition has certainly delivered, especially during those last couple of rounds. I am still to see that graphic to confirm what sort of jump we were looking at for Wang there at the end. When I can look on my computer system, it was his best of the day. I was correct, 8.22 meters. Oh, but just short of the victory, 4 centimeters. And here is that confirmation. Yoshida, a brilliant win, 8.26. Wang, the world champion, 8.22. And Henry Frayne had a frustrating afternoon, didn't he? But 7.99 meters to take 3rd position. So confirmation of the women's 100-meter hurdles. 100 meters, should I say, sorry. Zoe Hobbs from New Zealand taking the victory, 11.20. Destiny Smith-Barnett, 11.41. And Tori Lewis of Australia, quick on her heels, 11.42. So all the build up to this men's 100 meters. That is the full lineup. There were 2 heats earlier in the program. Around about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago now. Qualification process was first 3 from both heats, and then the next fastest 3 times. So these are the 9 fastest men from those heats. And all eyes, of course, on this man. Done incredibly well, hasn't he? Moving all the way down from the 400 meters to the 100 meters. And to become the world champion on US home soil last year. Very, very emotional moment.
And now, let's introduce the runners for the men's
1, 2, 3 on that occasion for the US.
In lane 1,
Tian Welpen, he was 4th in his heat, 10.15 seconds.
in lane 2,
Jake Doran
Australia.
from Australia. He was 3rd in the Australian National Championships. Rotota Suzuki, he will go just inside Fred Curley. And here he is, Fred Curley, a real headliner for this meeting here in Yokohama. Looks composed, looks up for it, doesn't he? Rowan Browning, another Australian. Good season's best, 10.02. Yuki Kaoki of Japan, personal best inside 10 seconds. Yukiro Sakai, another Japanese athlete. He will go in lane 7. Yanga Gita goes in lane 8. And Taju Hongo will complete the lineup in lane 9.
On your marks.
Curley, the winner of Heat 1. Yuki Kahoke, winner of Heat 2. 9 men, 100 meters. Fred Curley, lane 4.
Set.
Oh. Well, that's not what we wanted to see. I had all my eyes focused, I must admit, on Fred Curley, see what sort of start he got. I did think Retota Suzuki, the small Japanese athlete in the yellow on the inside of him, maybe got the best start. But I don't know whether I thought it was too good of a start. Let's have another look. There was nothing obvious to me. Maybe Sakai in lane 7 is grateful that they've been recalled. Seem to almost stumble and almost fall out of the blocks. Almost over-rotated. Michiro Sakai. Well, you can't beat that for Japanese efficiency. Around about 10 officials crowded around that electronic monitor. And the music in the background just building up the tension. Got to say, this Japanese crowd have been very, very respectful to these men 100-meter athletes. Sometimes you can get distracted and get excited for what you're about to see, but the crowd noise was kept to a very, very low minimum. Well, I said around about 10 people. I did actually count 10 plus 2 cameramen. So let's see what the decision is. Well, he's gone to Yagagita. Just had a little bit of a word with him. Yagagita is okay, he's still there. He just puts his hand on his heart, trying to control that adrenaline and those emotions. Here we go, take 2, the men's 100 meters.
Set.
Oh. And another double gun. And Curley looked frustrated, didn't he, after that one? Any meet organizer always leaves a little bit of time in the program if you've got sprint events, just in case, you know, the build up and things like this. But we didn't expect that. And just seeing Fred Curley, he just took one of his shoes off. I did see in frustration, he kind of clipped the track when he'd done a couple of strides. So maybe he just needed to readjust. Maybe he just dislodged that shoe. Again, nothing obvious. Jake Doran just having a bit of a word with Fred Curley. Saying this is frustrating. Well, again, we've got a 10-man operation around that electronic monitor. I think that one will be down to a faulty start again. Can't expect to see the loss of any competitor. Sometimes the athletes can shake a little bit, but oh, this time Curley. Maybe there's just a little bit of movement sensed in those blocks, I'm not sure. Full lineup: Welpen, Doran, Suzuki, Curley, Browning, Kaoki, Sakai, Yanagita, and Hongo.
On your marks.
Men's 100 meters from the Seiko Golden Grand Prix in Yokohama. 4th stop on the World Athletics Continental Tour Gold Series. We're on our third attempt of getting this men's 100 meters safely away.
Set.
And we are away, and it is a good start for Curly. Lifts that head up. Well, this is where we expect him to power away from the rest of the field, and he does exactly that. 9.92 seconds he stops the clock at. Not as quick as the 9.88 we saw in the heat. It has been rounded down to 9.91. Well, always frustrating for the athletes, of course, when you have numerous attempts of getting away. Rowan Browning came through well, didn't he, from Australia? 10.100. I talked about that 10.02 season's best against a 10.01 personal best. But it's just that last 30, 40 meters or so for Curly. He just pulls away with every stride from the rest of the field. And he doesn't look that impressed with the 9.91. But any time you break the 10-second barrier, it should be celebrated. Well, Americans have enjoyed success at this meet in previous seasons. Michael Rogers has took a win. Justin Gatlin took 6 of them. And Christian Coleman was the victor last year. Fred Curly achieving the same here in 2023. Well, that was Fred Curly's season's debut over the distance. His heat 9.88, backed up with that 9.91 from the final. He does slot into world number 2 position so far in the world outdoor list. That's just behind Ferdinand Omayala, Kenyan athlete who we saw run that 9.84 a couple of weeks ago on the Continental Tour Gold Series in Nairobi. So good start for Curly. No, he won't be happy with 9.91 though. He likes the 9.7s. But total dominance over the rest of the field here in Yokohama. Everyone quick to try and get a selfie with Fred Curly. There is confirmation, 9.91 by Fred Curly. Rowan Browning, 10.100. It was Sakai, Richio Sakai from Japan, who leveled him 10.100 seconds. But he was given 3rd position. Well, so exciting to see that men's 100-meter final. We're going from the home straight to the men's 3,000 meters now. These 3,000 meters will wrap up our program here from Yokohama. That is the full lineup. We will have a second page. 18 men will toe the line for the 7.5 laps. And it's a real quality field, this men's 3,000 meters. But I must say, it's a very, very hard race to call. 3,000 meters, not frequently run. Of course, it's not a championship distance at world or Olympic level, so we don't have a World Athletics qualification standard to look out for. But there will be a pacer in the race. And they've asked to go through every 400-meter segment in around about 62 seconds, so there is ambition. I think for a finish time around about 7 minutes 45. Looking down the start list, such an array of athletes here. We've got athletes sub 61 minutes for half marathon. We've got 10,000 meter personal best down in the low 27 minutes. But not an obvious standout here over the 3,000 meter distance. Just guess we'll see how the race progresses. Who's come in here in shape? It is a very strong Japanese presence. Got a couple of Kenyan athletes in this one as well. A couple of Australians. We've got an athlete from New Zealand. Another athlete from Uganda. Hopefully we'll meet as many of the athletes as we can. There is Aikida. Aikida, 24 years of age. We're starting from the outside. This is Jude Thomas from Australia. Uga Endo of Japan, 2 times national 5,000 meter champion. Julian Oakley, well, he's got 4 national titles to his name, over 5,000, 1,500 and 10,000 meters. You see the captions of a lot of the athletes here. Isaac Cabet, half marathon, 1 hour and 20 seconds. That is a phenomenal showing. Jack Bruce, very tall athlete, second in the national championships recently over 5,000 meters. Richard Etier, just 19 years of age, not got a 3,000 meters personal best to his name. Yato Bando, national champion for Japan a couple of years ago, over the 5,000 meters. Takato Suzuki, we've just met. Kasa Shioji of Japan, Asian bronze medalist over the 3,000 meter steeplechase. So come here on the flat for some speed, deciding not to do the steeplechase on this occasion. Shimizu there goes 3rd from the inside. So many athletes to try and cover. Hopefully I can tell you a few backstories as the race gets underway. We've got 7.5 laps to do that. Men's 3,000 meters. Well, I've already said it's not a championship distance, so a lot of the men have chose to compete here for various reasons. Maybe it's a little bit of speed work if they're coming off half marathons and 10,000 meters. Or a little bit of endurance work if some of these athletes are more 1,500 meter based. But I think the recognition of 62 seconds for every 400 meter segment shows there is some ambition to run a swift time. Worth pointing out that the world lead is from Girma of Ethiopia. Lamecha Girma, he's run 7:26.18. In fact, about the world's top 10 all came from that Diamond League race in Doha recently. And what about that for pacemaking? 61.54. Absolutely perfect pacing at the front. And we can see that a good pace is being set because the field are all already after 400 meters strung out, covering somewhat 10, 15 meters in distance. But the good thing about that is everyone manages to find a space. And you've got so many athletes in the race. It's really, really hard when everyone's vying for the same opportunity to run on the same piece of track as it was. So the athlete in, I think, 4th position I can pick out so far is Kiprono Sinonic of Kenya, just 21 years of age. He's going incredibly well so far. He ran a 10-kilometer road race recently in Spain. Also gone over 5,000 meters. Got quite a lot of Japanese-based Kenyan athletes, and we'll talk about the race being strung out. I mentioned that 400 meters ago. Well, it looks like this pace is continuing to be really, really solid, because you can just see from the front marker to the back marker, that stretched to what, another 5 meters on this lap. And we can see the kilometer mark was 2:36, so absolutely bang on the pace that the pacer was asked to do, so well done to him. Crowd are really getting behind these athletes. Japanese love their distance running. Jizowa it is who's in 2nd position. Been wanting to see that bib so I could pick him out. Another athlete who's just come past him, one of the other athletes, Japanese athletes, Ojiri. He's followed the pacemaker now. He's saying, okay, we were bang on schedule at 1,000 meters. I want to keep this pace honest. Ojiri was the Asian bronze medalist over the steeplechase. I picked him out earlier, saying that he's chose to do the flat rather than the steeplechase in this meeting. So clearly the ambition is there to improve his speed on the flats. That'll help once he gets over the barriers as well. It is incredibly tough to pace make these races. You've got to be an international standard athlete yourself in order to do that. Lots of movement through the field. Just watching Tomuka there, number 12. Oh, and I say that just as I sighted him, he's just tripped. Oh, commentators curse that Tomuka went down, and I think he took Hoshikosha with him. Oh, you could just see him grimacing, just looking at his elbow. I'm sure he'll have a nasty graze on that. That's going to sting. But all credit for him to get back up and try and complete this race. So tough to try and withhold the emotion, but 3 laps to go in this men's 3,000 meters. And we've still got a good pack at the front. A couple of athletes, as you would expect, dropping off in the later stages, but we've got 6 athletes and just a little bit of a gap there to almost a 2nd pace. A few athletes having to watch their heels now. You don't want to get tripped. And it still is the steeplechase specialist, Kazuchi Karaji, who's in 2nd place. Well, let's look at that split at 2,000 meters, 5:12. And if they ran completely economically, we were hoping for 5:10, so very much still in the running for a fast time. You can see Endo and Itaria there, still in at this moment. So we have got a pack of 5 athletes now with 2 laps to go. First time I've mentioned Endo, 2 times national champion over the 5,000 meters. So we've whittled it down to 5 athletes. Kamau is there, Shizuri is there, Endo is there. And the pacer, what a great job we've got from these pacers. He's took them into a men's 3,000 meters until 500 meters to go. You can't ask for much more than that. And it still is Ojira with 400 meters to go. Endo moving up now into second position. Endo's run a very, very canny race. He hasn't showed himself too early. Sha'carri has been there the whole time. He's got that number 1 on his back. Endo just looking round his shoulder now. It seems to have been just 2 athletes left, but here's another move on the back straight from Saninek. And Endo, he hits the front with 200 meters to go. Endo, 2 times national champion for Japan over the 5,000 meters. Can Kaja Sha'carri hold on for second position? I hope he does. He's done so much work. But it is Huganga Endo sprinting towards the finish. It's going to be a very, very quick time. What can Endo finish with? And it is 7:45.08. And if that is confirmed, that is a new meet record for Endo of Japan. Well, there is confirmation of our results graphic. And I'm so pleased that Sha'carri managed to hang on for second position. Kamau from Kenya finished in third position. All of these men finishing inside the previous meet record. Sitanik from Kenya. So it was a Japanese 1-2, Kenya 3 and 4. And I thought that was a really, really good competitive race. So hard to call that prior to the race when athletes have come off road races. Still finding the early season track form. But Endo from Japan, a worthy winner of the men's 3,000 meters.
All right, now let's meet the athletes for the women's 3,000 meter final.
Just one event left to come, and that is the women's 3,000 meters. Well, we've just enjoyed a competitive men's equivalent. Let's hope for more of the same in the women's. 17 women go in this one. Just a good opportunity to look at that introduction graphic. A lot of the leading contestants, Helen Loban will be one of those. So many young Japanese talent, age 21, 20, 22, 21, 19. Looking down my start list. And a great opportunity to not only race the best in your nation, but race a sprinkling of international talent as well, in front of a home crowd, broadcast to over 145 countries worldwide. This will really be the catalyst for many of these young athletes' careers. Well, thankfully, we have got our images back. Just saw Aisha Praut-Leah from Jamaica on the inside. She goes over 1,500 meters, 3,000 meters. She goes over the steeplechase. She comes over the 5,000 metres for real versatile athletes. And as per the men's 3,000 metres, we will have a pacemaker in this race. They're looking at 71 seconds for every 400-metre lap. And I think that should bring them home in around about 8 minutes 50-ish, if my maths is up to scratch.
On your marks.
Well, there are 17 women in this race, and the official almost had to put his back right to the advertising hoardings there, didn't he, to get out of the way, to let these women have a swift exit off that start line. Gatarai coming right to the front. I'm just wondering whether Gatarai is at the pacemaker in this one. She has got a personal best of 8 minutes 43. So I put a big star next to her name, thinking that she was going to be one of the athletes to watch out for. She was the world under-20 champion over this distance a couple of years ago. She's really gone for it. You can see Helen Loban of Kenya in the blue vest. She's in 3rd position at the moment. Well, let's have a look at the clock. So 71 seconds through 400 meters. They're going to be significantly quicker than that. Well, it's 67 seconds. So if they can keep this sort of pace up, they're going to be approaching more like the 8:30 marker rather than 8:50. I'll try and sight some of these athletes when I can. There is Loban. She's in 4th position now because somebody made a mad dash to try and get back to the leading 2 athletes. Karaguchi in 5th position behind her. Rose Davis from Australia in 6th position. So we've got 2 athletes at the front of the field, a tear away from the rest of the track to try and get on their coattails. Number 13, number on her back is Helen Loban. She's leading this 2nd pack. So much easier, of course, if you can sneak in behind somebody, not have to do all the work for yourself at the front. Not really getting a great sighting of the leading 3. Loban, it is there in the blue vest. Just watching as Rose Davis now gets herself into 5th position. So we know Gatarai is there at the front. I'm thinking it could be Margaret Akidor of Kenya. She does have a personal best of 8:32. So to be operating at 2:52 pace for 1,000 meters split, there can only be several athletes capable of that. It's some 5 seconds faster than what we were expecting. So here we go. Let's pick them out now. So the hip numbers help. Number 6, it is Akidor. I thought it could only be her. Gatarai, we already picked her out from the start. She was the one who went tearing off right from the beginning. And it is another Kenyan athlete, Judy Chipchinech Chepanuni, in 3rd position. So those are our 3. And surely the rest of the pack can't get back to them. Helen Loban doing a very, very good job. But what? Loban, Davis heading up that 2nd pack. They've got to be some 40 meters further back from the leading 3 contestants. Getarai, Akidor, and Chipaskwoni. Chipaswoni, worth talking about her, the athlete who made her way back from that second pack to the first pack, only 20 years of age. And Akidor is looking now, isn't she? She's looking for someone to help her with this pace. Can't expect that any three of these athletes with a pacemaker, the designated pacemaker. You can just see that lap did slow down now. We are back to the pace that they've asked for, 71 seconds. So it did start off with that swift 67. And Chipaswoni has decided, you know what, I'll take on the pace. Akidor was moving, drifting to the outside of her lane, wasn't she? Asking one of the others, come on, let's have a bit of help with this pace here. But all of a sudden, that 40-meter lead has been shrunk to what, some 15, 20 meters. And Chipaswoni, her head is wobbling now. Not only was it a 67-second first 400 meters, but it's the amount of effort she had to put in to get back from that second pack. She thought she'd missed the break. She got back with the two leaders. Talking about getting back with the leaders, Helen Loban, well, she's done an incredible job to get back, but whether it's because she's improved the pace or the pace had been slipping at the front. Well, that 1K was 3:01. The first was 2:52. The second 3:01. This is going to be a hard last kilometre for those athletes who really committed to that pace. And I'm looking now, I think it's Rose Davis who's joined those leading three athletes. And Helen Loban, I can't see that blue vest of hers anymore. I think she's stepped off the track. Half of me is thinking, was she the pacemaker? Did she get them round on that really good, honest 71-second laps? And that just a few other athletes at the front had different ideas. So we've lost Loban, but we have gained Rose Davis to that leading group, and Davis has had enough. She thinks, you know what, this pace is dropping. I'm feeling good. Don't want to leave it down to a sprint finish. So really brave from Davis here. She's took the pace on with 700 meters to go. That was a 70-second lap. So we're within the last 600 meters now. What can Rose Davis do? Can Margaret Akidor rally? Can she find anything? Can Getarai from Kenya, another youngster, 21 years of age, can she find anything? It looks like Chipaswoni from Kenya, who made that big bid to get back to the pack. It looks like her race is run, well, especially for taking the victory. But it is Rose Davis from Australia, national champion over this distance last year. But Margaret Akidor still got some running in her legs. So has Getarai, and it's Getarai actually closing now on Rose Davis. Getarai was the one who decided to take the pace on that early pace. She was responsible for the first lap of 67 seconds, but Rose Davis is not giving in. That was a 67 seconds. Rose Davis has really, really took this race to the rest of the field. 100 meters to go. It's Davis from Australia, from Getarai from Kenya. Coming out with 60 meters to go. Davis will have to find everything that she's got to win this one, but it is Getarai from Kenya. It's going to be close all the way to the line. Getarai taking it, 8 minutes 43.81. And a very, very brave Rose Davis comes home in second position, followed home by Margaret Akidor of Kenya. Well, it was a good finish time in the end, 8:43.81. But I don't think you'll find a race run as strangely as that very often. Gatterai with that very, very swift opening few laps. They really, really dropped the pace in that second kilometre. But Gatterai found something, some sort of belief in that last 50 metres to overhaul Davis. And Akador did very, very well to hold on for third position, 8:46. Chet Pasbuoni finished in fifth position. Remember the athlete from Kenya, the youngster who clawed her way back from the second pack to the first pack. Really looked like her race was run with a kilometre to go, but she held on extremely well. Isabel Bat-Doyle did overtake her though on the last lap to finish in fourth position. Well, what a couple of races that we've just enjoyed over the 3,000 metres. Endo run absolutely sensational, didn't he? Absolutely sensational to take that victory in the end. Meet record 7:45. Good to see so many of the athletes finishing that race when you have a big field at the start. Just an opportunity to look back at the men's 100-metre final. Fred Curley, he took the victory, 9:91. Not quite as swift as his 9:88 from the heats. Did take us 3 attempts to get that final underway, and here is Fred Curley.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, Prix experience it. How was the race today?
The race was good. You got to be mentally in there to understand what actually going on in track and field. Stuff like that happen all the time. So, but you got to be mentally in the moment, and I was mentally in the moment.
In the qualifying round, you made a 9.88. What do you think about this time?
Well, the times is good headed on for the rest of the season, and those races was, I think, execute to a certain extent. I know what I got to do, prepare myself better.
It's not. I mean, the final is 9.91. It's it's how to keep your mind on the.
You got to be mentally prepared for that situation again. So, and I was mentally prepared, and I can't blame nobody but the person that run the clock. So, but I was in the race, so and everybody else had to deal with it, so I had to deal with it.
So, how was the Japan trip?
The Japan trip was excellent, from traveling to the Asian headquarters, coming to Tokyo, and then coming to Yokohama. I feel like my Japan trip was successful.
And please tell us that what is the next year goal?
My next goal is I got Morocco and then Italy, so finish on top of both of the races. So I know what I got to do to execute both of the races.
Thank you very much, and congratulations, and thank you for coming to Japan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to hear the thoughts of Fred Curley there, saying you have to be professional, you have to get used to those sorts of environments. He was referring to taking 3 times to get that men's 100 metres underway. But an opportunity to catch up with some results from 3 field events that happened earlier. We had an incredible men's javelin throw. 5 men with season's best in excess of 80 metres. But this was our winner. You can see that 80-metre mark. Roderick Genty-Dean. 82 metres and 3 centimetres. That came in the second round. He backed it up with an 81.94 as well. And there is the full results. Patrick Gumiz from Latvia took second position. Kenji Ogura from Japan finishing in third. We saw a lot of the men's long jump. So we didn't get the opportunity to show the women's long jump. That happened before we came on air. This is the athlete who finished in third position. Seling Singh of India. That was her opening jump, 6 metres 65. Lazzolo of Germany. Though she took the win, it was a huge 6 meters 79. Very much like the men's competition that really came alive in the 5th and 6th round. Her best also came in the 5th, and she was absolutely delighted with that 6 meters 79. There is the result. The athlete we didn't get a chance to see was Brooke Bushkull. We saw her helping out Henry Frayne in the men's long jump. She finished 2nd, 6 meters 77. World number 3 ranked athlete, Sang-Yin Wu, 2-time Olympian, World Championship silver medalist. He took the victory in the men's high jump. That was 2 meters 29. He achieved that first time of asking. He did go for 2 meters 32, had 3 attempts, but 3 failures, unfortunately. A real hotly contested men's high jump. 2 men, himself and Joel Baden, have been going incredibly well, the Australian this year, both clearing 2:29. And Nato Harawaka from Japan, 2:25. So all 3 of those events happened before we came on air. Our last event that we've just seen to wrap up the action here from Yokohama was the women's 3,000 meters. Gatari outpowering Rose Davis the last 50 meters. 8:43.81 to 8:44.07, and Margaret Akidor of Kenya in 3rd. Well, that concludes all our action from the Seiko Golden Grand Prix 2023. It was the 4th stop of 13 on the World Athletics Continental Tour Gold Series. Next up, later today or early hours of tomorrow, depending where you live around the globe, we're going to head to Bermuda. It's the USA Track and Field Grand Prix from the National Sports Centre in Devonshire. But just for now, we can enjoy some brief highlights from what we've seen in Yokohama. Great start to the program for Yodama, winning the 400-meter hurdles in a personal best. Naomi Tanaka, she was 4th last year. No mistake in her this year. She took the victory. Nakajima enjoying victory in the men's 400 meters. German athlete Lazola delighted with that 6 meters 79. But perhaps the best action was Fred Curley, men's 100 meters. Hope you enjoyed the action. Hope to see you later today from Bermuda. From me, Jenny Meadows, goodbye.